How you doing? Today we're going to be making a cotton reusable and washable face mask. Now this project is pretty simple. You're going to need two 7-inch pieces of elastic. You're going to need a piece of cotton fabric, and you're going to want to cut that to 9 by 15 inches. And you're also going to need a sewing machine and an iron. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make sure that you have a piece of cotton fabric, and you're going to want to cut it at 15 inches long and 9 wide. And that'll look something like this. Now if we look at the table, it matches up 9 here, 15 here. Now after you have that piece of fabric, you're going to want to come over to an ironing board, and you're going to have the design side down. Now from here what you're going to do is you're going to fold the 9-inch sides over like this. You're going to want to have a good 1/4 inch of space right there. That's how much you want to fold over. Now after you have that 1/4 inch, you're going to iron it down so that you have a crease going. Get a nice crease there. Now when you do this, you're going to do this to both sides. So we have this first side done, and it looks something like this. And then we're going to get going on our second side. Alright, once you have both sides done, you're going to come back over to the sewing machine. And then from here what you're going to do is you're going to line it up so that the crease side matches up with the foot here. And then you're going to go down, and then you're going to start going all the way down. Now make sure that you lock in the thread. That is a big part of making sure that these masks stay together, because they are going to be used quite a bit during this time. Alright, make sure that's locked in, and then we'll cut the thread. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to do this to the other side. Alright, once you have both sides hemmed, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to have it so that the design is facing up so that you can read it. Now, it's upside down of course, so that you can see it. It's Friends themed, except we want it so that I can read it. That way when the mask comes out at the end, the design is flush with your face and you can read it from the front. That way it's not upside down. Now what we're going to do from here is we're going to fold it up, and we're just going to fall a little short of that first sewing line. Now from there, you want to make sure that it's all lined up, and then from there what we're going to do is we're going to take some clips, and we're just going to clip it in. Now after we clip it in, what we're going to end up doing is we're going to sew down here right below that first hem, just right along it, and we're going to stop so that there's about 3 inches here in the middle. We're going to need that so that we can put the filter in later. So we're going to line that up with that first hem, and then we're going to get going on that. Again, make sure to backtrack so that that thread locks in. And then we're going to stop just short of the middle. That way we have some room to put that filter in. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Alright, so once you have both sides done, it'll match up right here at the base of that hem. And then you'll have a little hole right here in the middle. Should be about 3 inches wide. Now after we have that done, we're going to come back over to the ironing board. And then from here what we're going to do is we're going to fold that short one down. And once we fold the short one down, we're going to iron that. And then once we have that done, what we're going to do is we're not going to fold it, but we're going to roll it. So when we roll it, we're going to get our hands right there in the middle, and we're going to roll it back. So now what's going to happen is you're going to leave this up so that it's right up there, and you're going to leave it open like that, and you're going to fold it so that it's like right here. That way the long edge that you just made lines up with the top. Now what we're going to do from there is we're actually going to fold it down. And once we fold it down, we're going to iron it again so that there's a crease here at the top. We're also going to iron the bottom. Make sure we got a nice crease going. You're going to want to have a nice crease for this next part. Alright. Now that we have our piece of cotton here, nice and creased, we're going to come back over here to the sewing machine. And then from here what you're going to need next is you're going to need 2 pieces of elastic that are about 7 inches long. Now from here what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to insert the elastic into the mask. Now from here what you're going to do is you're going to line it up like this, and you're going to just push it right up against that top crease. You're going to want to have a little bit of that elastic sticking out, and then from there what we're going to do is we're going to clip it in. Now what you're going to do is you're going to go back to sewing. You're going to line it up so that the foot here just lines up with the edge, and then we're going to go over it. Now you need to make sure that you backtrack over it 2 or 3 times. That way you make sure that the elastic is nice and secure, because that's going to be going around your ears, and that is one of the most used parts of the mask. Now as you go along this, you're going to want to make sure that this edge stays lined up the whole time. Now once we have about 2 inches from the bottom, we're going to want to drop the needle, leave it in, that way you don't lose your spot. At this point we can also take this clip out. And then we're going to reach in, we're going to get our elastic, and we're going to do the same thing to the bottom. We're going to line that up with that crease. You can get that through. And now that we have it there, we're going to line it up along the bottom. Get it nice and flush with that crease. This may take a couple tries. And once we have that lined up, we can clip that in. Make sure that that clip's nice and lined up too. Right there out of the way. And then from here you're going to want to make sure that you have tension right there, because the elastic is going to want to make the fabric scrunch up, and we want to make sure that we have it flush still. Now when we get down to the end here, we're going to want to backtrack a couple times again, just to make sure that we have that piece in and it is secure. Now once we have this part done, we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Alright, so once you have both sides fitted with the elastic, what you're going to do is you're going to find that pocket you made earlier, right here, and you're just going to turn it all the way inside out. one end, and here is the other. And you will come out to something that looks like this. Here's our pocket again. Now, when you have the pocket, there's actually a flap here that goes down. So you can't immediately see the inside of the design, and it just goes in. Now that helps a lot with the friction of the filter. So by having that flap, the filter is less likely to be jumbled around inside the mask while you're wearing it. Now the next thing we're going to do is we are going to get a pipe cleaner here, and we're going to put it in. And then what we're going to do, I will grab another one to demonstrate out here, is once it's in, we're going to put it all the way up to the top on the short end of the pocket. We're going to have it up there. That way it will mesh around your nose. Now we need to get this one wiggled in. And once we have that all the way up to the top, we can sew that in. Sure that it's centered. And once it is centered, we can go ahead and put that in. Always making sure to backtrack at the start. And once that's in, we're going to cut all that loose thread. And from there, the pipe cleaner will now be up here at the top. And once it's there at the top, it won't be jumbled around, and now we can use it to go around our nose. Alright, so after that pipe cleaner goes in, we're going to make our way back over to the ironing board. Now once we're back at the ironing board, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that the elastic sides are up so that we have an easier time ironing this, and then we're just going to go over it again. Making sure that everything's nice. Now once we have that nice and flat, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to have the pocket side down. So we're going to flip it over so that the pocket is facing down. Now from there what we're going to do is we're going to make some pleats. Now when we make the pleats, we're going to put 2 fingers up here from the top, and then we're going to put 1 finger on the inside so that it looks like this. 2 on the outside, 1 on the inside. And once we have that, what we're going to do is we're going to push that 3rd finger up so that it makes a nice pleat up here. Now once we have that pleat, we're going to take one of our clips and we're just going to clip that in. There's one side. And here's the other. Now it doesn't have to be perfect at the moment because we're going to go back through and make sure that the sides are lined up. Now what we're going to do is we're going to find that top again, and then we're going to do the same thing going down. Now once we have both, we're going to go over it again with an iron just to make sure that we have those pleats in and we have creases down so that it's easier to sew. Alright, now that we have those pleats down, just go over it with that iron, make sure that they're nice and in there. That way it knows right where it wants to be when we go to sew. And after it's ironed and clipped, it should look something like this. A lot more like our finished product. Now we're going to come back over here to the sewing machine. And once we're back over here at the sewing machine, we're going to line it up with the foot again. We're going to drop that down. And since this area is going to be experiencing a lot of use as well because it's going to be unfolded a little bit when you put it over your face, we're going to want to make sure that we double back. Once once we get up to that clip, you can undo that, make sure that the edge is lined up still. And because we ironed it earlier, it'll be much easier to follow. Make sure not to get your fingers in there. As you continue, you might have to readjust a couple times to make sure that we're keeping those pleats right where we want them. Making sure to be careful, keeping it lined up. And then doubling back always. Maybe more than once. And then we are going to repeat the thing for the same side. Alright, now once you have that second side done, your mask should turn out to look like this. The pockets here on the inside so you can put it on a filter. And when you put it on, this goes over your nose, this comes down, and then the elastic goes over your ears, and the mask should turn out something like this. Alright, so you can put filters in these masks, and the way that you want to do that is you want to find that little pocket, and then what you're going to do is you can either get a folded paper towel or a gauze pad. Now first we're going to start off with a paper towel. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to put it through the pocket. So we're probably going to have to fold it up here really quick just to get it in. And once we have that in, we can unfold it a little bit. And now that it's unfolded, it's all up in the mask and ready to use. So the second method is using Band-Aid gauze pads. Now in each of these, there are 2 pads. We are going to be using 1. Now we want to find that pocket again, and then we're going to get that gauze pad in there. We're going to get it spread out, ready to use. Once we have it spread out in there, the mask is ready to use. Well, that fits perfectly. Thank you for watching my video, and I hope that your masks turn out just as great.